You. Oh man, I got to fix the damn camera. Camera's set up for me and Kim. And obviously Kim's not here. And I left the other light on. What else is fucking new? Oh, I can't set the camera because the camera is fucked. Because Kim sits in that little chair. Hold on, let me fix the camera. There we go. Righty, man. All right, let me go ahead and send the thing into our Discord chat. Let me go ahead and get the link sent to the Discord chat so all of our friends over there who are snoozing can get in here. If you get in the chat, let me know. Say hello while I'm looking at this on my phone. Home. Shit. Subscriptions. Share. Copy link. All right. Shared in Discord. All righty. Who we got? Oh, God damn it. You think I can fucking actually read? Isaac! How you doing, my man? So we're going to have a little fun tonight. Oh, my God. Fuck. Oh, I got the camera all fucking jacked. All right. There we go. A little bit better. Yeah, Grandpa. Definitely right, man. See the gray? That's all from my daughter. All from my fucking daughter. All from a wreck she did right after she graduated high school. She rode a pickup truck. Remember that day like it was yesterday. Glad you're doing well, my man. Glad you're doing well. Yeah, I mean, we're all doing good. I mean, obviously, last week has been hell for me with my friggin' knee, but it's gotten a lot better. So anyways, what I was thinking is we get people to slowly come in here. I was thinking one of these times, while I was listening to music, I'm like, you know what would be fucking cool is literally have people throw me an artist or throw me a song and artist and see if I know them, and I'll tell you what I think of them. So that's an idea for tonight. This is just gonna be fun. It's nothing serious, nothing set up. I mean, Kim's working. Nicole's probably in bed. By the way, y'all check out Red 5 on the Fives on the Red 5 network with Nicole Holstein. She had Ian, Spencer, and also Ubaldo on there, and they talked about the final book of the Heir to the Empire trilogy, which was Last Command. But yeah, I mean, it was good to hear it. There's a few things being said in the chat that made me I really wanted to say something, but I held my tongue. So I think I'll say a little bit here right now. For everybody that complains about Disney ruining the OT, the original trilogy, remember one thing: the 4K version of the original trilogy was done by George Lucas. It was done before he sold it to Disney. So what you see on Disney Plus for the OT is George Lucas. I mean, it's all about the special editions, all that. It was all about about him finishing his movies. For him, they weren't finished what we saw originally. And so he was constantly tinkering, especially after 97. I mean, and again, part of that problem with the when they went back to do the special editions, they found out the original film had deteriorated, so it was destroyed. They had to go back in. They literally had to CGI a lot of even the OT stuff, especially on A New Hope. And so everybody complained, "Oh, we want the OT trilogy on Blu-ray." You're never gonna get it. You're not gonna get a 4K version of it. I mean, I know there's those bootleg ones out there. They're like they taken like the 35 millimeter version of the film and did it. But yeah, I mean, you're never gonna get the OT trilogy on Blu-ray because it was destroyed. It was destroyed before 97. They didn't protect the film like they should have. But anyways, enough about Lucas and Disney and all that crap. Again, everybody knows my feeling about Return of the Jedi. It's the worst movie of the OT. Then again, that's my opinion. That's the great thing about having a podcast is it's your opinion. It's my opinion. I can say what I want and how I really feel. That don't mean it's your opinion. A lot of people I know, a lot of people who love Return of the Jedi. My wife loves Return of the Jedi. It was the first movie she saw in the theater. But my first movie was Empire Strikes Back. And that's why I have the love affair for Darth Vader I do. But then again, after the prequels, I had a different feeling about Darth Vader. Anyways, the main thing of tonight is throw me an artist. I really wanted to see people throw out an artist, a music artist, a band and a song, or just a band. And I'll tell you what I've heard of them, what I thought of them, and if I like them, if I personally like them or not. Now, there'll be a lot of stuff I've never heard of, which means I'm gonna have to grab my phone somewhere and I did something with it. I don't remember what. But anyways, cheers, people. We're having some fun. This is not gonna be very long. This is gonna have to be a fun night. I just feel like, I was sitting here just listening to some rock music, going, man, got that second win. I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. I want to do a show just for the hell of it. Just for the hell of it. That's off of Cannonball Run. Great movie starring Burt Reynolds, Dom DeLuise. If you've never seen it, I feel sorry for you because you're never going to find the original copy. The original is different than what the copy is out now. And unfortunately, that is becoming a normal thing where what was once original is no longer the movies. I remember a few years ago, before me and Kim did the Convoy movie, I'd actually found a copy of it probably about 10 years ago, 10 to 15 years ago. And it was edited. I'm like, excuse me? Because there's a scene in there where one of the truck drivers drops his drawers and shows his ass. And I'm like, but it didn't show it in the movie I found on DVD. I'm like, excuse me? How dare you cut? I mean, again, it's not that I wanted to see a man's ass. It's just the fact that you cut a fucking movie. You edited a movie. I have a problem with editing anything. I have a problem. WWE over there on Peacock. Peacock has now gone through and edited out a lot of like old stuff from the rest of like WrestleMania 3. Yes, I get it. What Piper originally had done with the half and half black body to white body paint was wrong. I get it. But put a damn warning label up. Don't cut it out. It's just like everyone throwing a little pitch fit about what's that one song? Baby It's Cold Outside. Okay, the lyrics were written in a different time. I mean, how many people sat here for the longest time and didn't realize the word gay actually meant happy? I mean, when the first time I heard it, I really remember hearing it in the Flintstones. I looked at my mom and said, what? And she's like, well, at one point that word meant happy. Oh, okay. Well, at one point that word meant happy. By the 80s, that word meant something different. That was pretty much a term meaning for homosexual. Again, I'm not trying to get all political or all crazy on here. It's just the truth. Words in different times mean something different. Hey, Nicole. But, the thing is, we need to respect the time things were written. Again, like tonight, like I was talking about, Spencer, Nicole, Ian, and Yabaldo. You guys, great show tonight, by the way. Awesome friggin' show. And Nicole, if you want to jump in with me, that's friggin' fine. And Danny, let me know. I'll friggin' send you a link. This is just an impromptu. Let's have some fun. But great show tonight. But again, like Yabaldo mentioned, when he first read it, and it's kind of the first time I remember even hearing about this book was after the dark times. We talked about the dark times, here on this podcast. It was the first, I think it was the third anniversary of Star Wars Podcast Day, but the first time using abuse I ever did it. And we talked about the dark times where after Return of the Jedi, yeah, you had the Ewok movies, okay, but that didn't pertain to somebody like me, because by the time Return ended in 83, Return of the Jedi ended, I was already 12 years old. That September I would have been 12. And then come 84, I was 13 years old. So by the time 91 rolls around, when I finally graduated high school, you know, it wasn't for me, Star Wars was already dead. I lived off the movies, you know, constantly watching A New Hope, um, Empire, and Return. Yes, I know you guys have heard me say countless many times how much I hate the Ewoks. I may have hated them. I still watched the movies. I still enjoyed their part of the movie because, again, it takes you back to like, look at here, these little creatures are using primitive weapons to defeat the Empire. And again, but I still enjoyed all three movies. I just because I hated something being in it, and mainly it boiled down to, you know, 91 when my sister begged me to let her borrow my Black album, Metallica Black album. That's the album that's got Inner Sandman, The Unforgiven, you know, Through the Never, all the biggest album of Metallica's career at that point. I'm like, oh hell no. You are not allowed to like my music. That's my music, not yours. Go back and listen to your little friggin' New Kids on the Block and stuff like that. Again, deep down inside, yes, I like New Kids, but on the outside, I was not asking people. I was not asking people to listen to my music. I mean, it was the metal, Metallica at that point before the Black Album. There was only a few of us that listened to Metallica. And when you found people of your, as we met, felt like back then, of our kind, again, I guess in a way you can say we were gatekeeping. And you're right, we were. We weren't ready for Metallica to become the new thing, the number one thing. Nobody was ready for that. And a lot of us still to this day will sit there and say, if Cliff Burton had survived and lived, I don't think Black Album would have came out the way it did. I think Cliff Burton would have looked at Bob Rock and said, up yours, with the big middle finger. That's how I feel about it. Cliff Burton was a different animal. Man, that man can play bass. You don't believe me? Go listen to For Whom the Bell Tolls. Or better yet, look for a Cliff Burton bass solo on YouTube. There's one off of the home video they made called Cliff 'Em All after he passed away. Whew, man could play bass. I mean, the only man I know that put a bass guitar through pedals and stuff. And pedals are what you get that heavy metal sound to help you get that crunch. But he put his bass guitar through that. Used a wah-wah pedal on a bass guitar. It was unheard of. But yeah, so pretty much what I want. Well, I was just like I told Cam, so I want to do this impromptu live. And y'all wanted to throw out some bands, either a full band name, band and song. Ask me if I've heard it or not, and I'll tell you what I think, if whether or not I've heard it, and also what I think of it. And mainly got me thinking because I was sitting here jamming out to music and got my second wind. And of course, I know I was supposed to go to sleep, but you know how it is. That's a good thing about Gen X. Unfortunately, like most of us had boomer parents. Gen X's don't. We don't go to sleep on a normal basis or a normal time frame. We stay up different hours. We have a different lifestyle. We'd never want to be compared to our boomer parents. Anyways, actually, it's funny. The reason why I wasn't really active in the chat tonight, Nicole, is due to the fact. Send you a link. I will do that. Give me just a minute. One reason why I wasn't really active, I was actually searching some albums on eBay and Discogs. I was trying to buy some albums for tonight, or trying to buy some more albums. Just what Kim was like, really, dude, you're buying more. She's hearing me now say this now, going, what the hell? Hang on a minute, let me get views. Twix. Thank you, Spencer, by the way, for Twix. I know I struggle once in a while. Say it. Here you go, Nicole. I am gonna shit. What the hell, paste? Just so you know, that is not coffee in this friggin' drink. I'm sure Kim's right now going, God, he's embarrassing the fuck out of me. Shut up. I don't want to hear it. All right. Headphones on. that part of the soundboard up so I can hear Nicole when she comes in. All right, Nicole, I sent it to her on the Twix like we used to do. Hopefully that works. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's again, you know, a lot of things are again, I'm rambling, and of course, yes, I've been drinking. Oh, who cares? This is what the whole point of it. Have fun. Have fun on a show. That's all we want to do is have fun. Or as sometimes we just do.
Please, please, please get your shit together.
As always, we need to get our shit together. Oh man. Okay, so who and again, Spencer, I know you're definitely not into sports and stuff, but I mean, I was so happy that the return of our racing shows back. I mean, we've done 2 episodes now. And today Cam had like 3 rants this morning. You guys usually don't get to hear Kim rant on the normal show. She only rants during the racing stuff because it's usually the racing that pisses her off. All right, wait here. I mean, it's something to do with either NASCAR, and then we found out some extra stuff to happen, which we'll actually update next week because we're only going to got 1 race next weekend, which is Richmond at the Richmond International, or what the hell they call it now. And hello, there it is, Nicole. Hi.
Well, I should be winding down. I should be. And I should be like doing a reading plan. Oops.
Well, yeah, I mean, technically I'm supposed to be asleep right now, right?
Yeah, you should be. Instead, I go and clean my kitchen, and all of a sudden I get this alert, and I'm like, really? Scott sees me in bed. And then I'm like, Scott, you've been up since what time? And I'm like, oh,
right.
Man.
Well, that was the thing is like I woke up at 12:30. I did take a nap.
Good. I'm proud of you.
I don't remember what time it was last night. Kim would have to update me on that. But I did take a nap. I woke up at 12:30. She had set her alarm for 1:30 because she asked me when I went lay down, like, what time you want me to set an alarm for? I'm like, just set it for 1:30. That will give us half an hour to showtime, because I can hurry up and set up the computer real quick. Luckily, with this new computer, I can set up that. If we were waiting on the Apple, I'd be screwed. But we were able to set it up quick. But like I said, I woke up at 12:30, got the computer set up, and when she woke up, it was like just for her to wake up, go, and then we went. And I mean, it was a great day. I mean, yeah.
There's Dad. Hi, Dad.
Hey, Dad.
We decided Scott jumped on. Scott, who was not asleep, decided to jump on.
No.
And I should be getting ready for bed because I have to work in the morning.
So the crazy thing is I was listening. I was jumping through Apple. I was listening to some songs. I was actually looking for Blondes and Black Cars. Found it on YouTube, but the video I found on YouTube was not a newer version or a updated HD version. It was like a nasty version. I'm like, okay, let me find a better one. Then I found a better one, but it was like only half the song. I'm like, what? Well, this sucks. So, and then it got me thinking of some other bands like the band Kid Tracy had their debut album released in 1991, obviously right as everything was turning from the hair metal to the grunge, and then of course I'm talking to Kim. I'm like, oh, here's a band like Every Mother's Nightmare. They had a great cover of Long Hair Outlaw by Charlie Daniels, but they made it hard rock. And that's the first time I ever heard the song. And then when I eventually heard Charlie Daniels' version, I went, hello. So it is just one of those things. And then checked out a band called Tora, and I'm like, I just told Kim, I was like, gosh, it'd be really cool just to do a show where let everybody in the chat just throw a band name or an artist name out at me, or artist name and song, and see if I've ever heard it. And I'll tell you what I think of it, And so at that point, I was like, oh yeah, let's just do it. Let me just go live right now. So I'm like, well, let me see in the Discord what everybody says, and of course, I got Spencer and everybody going like, aren't you supposed to be asleep right now?
Yeah. And then I'm like, let me be the crazy one and join in.
And you got Isaac calling me, hey, Grandpa. I'm like, well, yeah, but
is that what he said? What, Daddy Lucas? That was funny.
Yeah, well, that's because, again, in your chat tonight, I saw somebody point out the fact that Disney had ruined, according to them, Disney had ruined the OT. And I'm like, you guys don't realize the 4K version of the OT actually was done by Lucas before he sold it to Disney. So if there's any problems with the 4K version of the OT, it's all on Lucas. Again, it's his baby. He's the one who wants to fix it while we're all like, we want the original. But unfortunately, I do remember interviews I read from magazines back when the special editions came out that never going to get you're not going to have the original copy.
Oh, I can't. I don't have what I was going to. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to do what is.
Yes, I did say Tora Tora.
There you go.
Tora. I love their very first album. First album, self-titled. It's got very first track. It's called Love's a Bitch. One of their video from that album was actually called Guilty, which is another one of my favorite songs. They also had a song called Walking Shoes on it. I love Tora Tora.
I'm not going to lie to you. So before you went live, I was going to text you and be like, guess what song is on my mind, and start putting a beat down. My dad would know the song. This is actually, I've told this song before.
Hey,
my dad just knows people.
Well, okay. Well, Kenny, can you reach out and see if we can get him on the show one time?
So, Scott, when are you coming to visit, man?
Right.
Oh my gosh. So they got a new lead singer for the band that we like to go see. Oh my gosh. Scott, hold up. You know what? I can send it to you. I will send it to you from Facebook later.
All right.
I know you and Kim, I swear, one of these days, you and Kim are just going to be here and we're gonna go out dancing.
Well, that was the thing. Like, you know how they're like doing the 13 city Star Wars marathon, right?
Yes, they're doing it in Chicago. I prefer sleep because I don't think I could get through it, which is why I'm like, So I'll do it from my house.
I forgot what city in
Wisconsin. And then I'm gonna tell you the song that was it's been in my brain.
So they're hosting it, they're doing it here in over in Tempe, near probably the stadium or whatever. Again, I'm not gonna, I mean, it's like $60 and they're gonna give you a discounted concession. Like, really? It's 20 hours of almost 21 hours of movies. Like, but I noticed, I read an article from this one in, I don't remember where at in Wisconsin. They're charging $45 plus you get a Star Wars breakfast.
Yeah, yes, that's the Marcus Theaters.
Dude, I want to go there.
Yeah, the Marcus Theater is, but the AMC, like, you get a poster and stuff. But I'm like, if I'm gonna go, I'm gonna do Marcus Theater because I want breakfast. Like, that's smart. Give me breakfast.
Right? Exactly. But I mean, you know, the funny thing is like the only time I did the marathon, the only time I've always wanted to do the full marathon. And the last time I did it was before we had episode 3. It was right after episode 2 was released on DVD. It's the only time I've done the marathon. And but my problem is, no, Nicole, is I want to do the proper marathon. That's one.
You don't want to do it in chronological order.
Well, no, I want to do 1, 2, 3.
Hello, nice to see you.
Ubaldo, my man.
Long time no see.
My BFF. Hey, that was a cool thing. Like, I'm sitting here, I'm watching Door Bumper Clear, and I'm like, okay, I'm trying to pay attention. And all of a sudden, they started talking about some of the stuff me and Kim talked about this morning. And I looked down at the clock, I'm like, 5:13. Shit, I missed your guys' show by 7 minutes. So I'm hurry up, killing out of that, getting over to Red 5 Network, getting into on the 5s, and I'm like, rewind so I can listen to all the, you know, all the announcements and stuff.
All of them.
And so, right, because as I got in there, you're just introducing Ian. That's where I jumped in at. That's where I was at.
You missed all the announcements.
No, well, I rewound to the announcements, and then I'm like, okay, I got the announcements all done. Now let me now you're talking about Last Command. Let me jump back to live, and all of a sudden, like, whoa, there's Spencer and Yabal, my BFF. Right on. You know, and it was like, and that's why I made a mention in there, like, I just had a Spaceballs moment.
I love Spaceballs. Talk to me.
I do too. I love Spaceballs myself. I mean, I love it so much that when me and Kim found the album soundtrack, I had the cassette tape back in the day, but when we found the vinyl copy of the album, probably 3 years ago now on eBay, I bought it. Like, I gotta have it. I have to have it. You know, it's
Mhm.
one of those I have to have moments. And the reason why I say that is because I think that was the very first time I had heard Van Hagar,
Okay.
because Van Halen had, kicked out David Lee Roth and brought in Sammy
Oh,
Hagar.
gotcha.
And one of the songs on there, it was actually one that when they go into the cafe, the diner, and you
Mhm.
hear "Hello, baby," the guitar, that's Van Halen,
Halen.
or a
Yeah.
song called "Good Enough" off of 5150, which is the very first album released with Sammy Hagar. Which then I watched this YouTube video earlier today and found out they wrote that in 10 days.
That's
Wrote and recorded in 10 days. That is crazy.
Yeah.
And it's a great album.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what song are you thinking of?
Okay, so I'm gonna give you a line, and we're gonna see if you can guess the
God.
song.
Okay.
Okay, but I'm not going to do some of the, I'm going to just do a lyric, a line, because if I do certain ones, I know it's gonna be a dead giveaway.
Okay.
Okay. See me right out of the sunset on your color TV screen.
Oh, fuck.
I'm waiting to see if my dad will pop in. He definitely knows the
Mm.
song without a doubt.
Yeah, damn it. I know the lyrics. I know the lyric.
If I go too far, it's so easy.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I know your balls is laughing right now because again, it's one of those things where I've heard the friggin' lyric. God damn it. Oh, I hate this shit. This is where I do get stumped. Like if I was to do like a rock or do like music Jeopardy and it was all about lyrics, a few of them I would get here and there, but a lot of them I would be going.
My dad's calling it out.
AC/DC.
He's telling you who it is, but he didn't say the song.
Right, he didn't say the song.
He knew what it was.
Isn't that Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap?
No, that's Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap.
Wait.
No.
Okay, say the lyric again.
Okay. See me right out of the sunset on your color TV screen.
Okay, it's definitely Bon
Out
Scott.
for
Though.
all that I can get.
Right? It's the Bon Scott era, right?
What?
It's the Bon Scott era, though, right?
Jared, help me out, and I might be in trouble. Mayday,
Penny,
mayday,
Penny.
mayday.
Penny or Ubaldo, is this Bon Scott era or is this Brian Johnson era?
I need help. Send help. Hey, what I know is that this song.
No, it's TNT.
Yes.
TNT. Dynamite.
Yeah.
TNT. I can't remember if that was actually
This
Bon
song
Scott or
will
not.
come in
I
my
think
head
it was Bon
my whole
Scott.
life. This is a song I've liked since I was a kid, and
See,
I've
Ubaldo,
shared this before.
I thank you, brother. I'm happy. I'm happy you knew I could do it. Even after drinking, I can't believe I. Believe me, people. This is. Oh wait, hold me.
It's water.
This is not water, and this is not coffee. It's got Coke in it, or
it's got Coca-Cola. Anyway, so
well,
like
Coke Zero in it.
Growing up, we would I think I've shared the story before, but I'll do it again. We would be out on family vacations, and I would stay up with my dad at night, and we were nighttime drivers. Like even when I grew up, I was more of a nighttime driver than I was a daytime. Well, I didn't mind daytime. I just could do nighttime. And so I would stay up with him, and we would play music. And so AC/DC was right up there with a humble pie, because I love me some humble pie.
Oh yeah, exactly. Well, and I think again, I think father and daughter.
Some crazy cats happening.
Well, like Hannah, right? I'll use my daughter as an example. When she was in her mother's womb, she wouldn't settle down one night. I took my headphones, and I've got Motley Crue's Decade of Decadence in my CD player, and I literally turned it to Home Sweet Home 91, and I just put it over the belly, and she calms down. Mm-hmm. And now that again, when Hannah got married to Mikey, me and her danced that song. I could have easily say, hey, let's pick some type of real father-daughter song. But it was like, this is our song. This has been our song since before she was born.
Right.
And again, if it wasn't for the granddaughter, Brindley, thank God she did what she did by coming in between us and coming up near us and dancing, and we picked her up because both me and Hannah are getting close to tears. There was a moment where we're like, what the heck, and luckily she came up and got us away from the tears.
Okay, so you're not gonna be able to really see this. But I will send it to you via Messenger. Yeah.
Yeah. I had their very first album. I still have it. Surprise Attack is actually what it's called. And I love Tora.
And the plastic is still on it. I can see the plastic like right there. Yeah. Scott,
I really need to come. I really need to come to Chicago. I really need to come to the Chicago area. Oh my gosh. So speaking of which, so again, like I said, during your show tonight, I was literally searching eBay and I'm looking for a specific album. I'm looking for an album called by the band Keel, Keel. And the album I'm looking for is The Final Frontier. Now, one of the ironic things about this album, it came out in 1986. It was produced by Gene Simmons, better known as Kiss, or bassist of Kiss. And on the liner notes, they put in there, this album is dedicated to the astronauts of the Challenger who, passed away on January 26th, and I put 1986. And I've been really wanting, I had it on cassette back in the day. I do have a CD version of it, but I do want to get the LP version of it. And the one I was looking at was going to cost like probably about $45. But the cool part is it comes with all this bio information, stuff that they would send to radio stations, including a press photo of the band. And I'm just like torn between like, do I buy it? Do I don't? Do I talk to Kim first or just buy it? And
talk to Kim first? Kim.
Well, I know how she is, because like when it came to New Kids, I'm like, well, how much would you spend for Hanging Tough?
Whoa.
Right. And I'm expecting her to say, oh, I'd spend easily $100 for it, right? To get it on LP. No, she's like 25. I'm like, are you crazy?
You're like, not even the new one. Like,
well, I'm like, okay, whatever, Kim. And of course, when it comes to her, I don't care about price. She knows, and I know if we had a time where, we got like an income tax check or something, we could afford me to spend $1,200 on a Motley Crue record. She would tell me to do it. And if I didn't do it, she would make sure it happened. And that is the original Leather Records version, which is their demo of Too Fast for Love. I still can't imagine spending that kind of money on a record. But to know there's like only maybe 2,000 copies out there. There's a first print, and there's a first print, second print, and a third print. And out of that, there's like, I think a total of 2,000 copies. And so it's like, do you really spend that kind of money for an album like that? But I'm a diehard Crue fan. But it's the same thing with New Kids with her. If all of a sudden I heard, oh, hey, guess what? New Kids is coming to Yuma, but it's going to cost me $300 a ticket. Well, if I can come up with $300 for one ticket, I'm doing it. Because I'm sending her to see her favorite band.
New Kids is playing there on my birthday.
Well, and the sad part, Nicole, what's really sad? I looked up their tour. They're coming up to her, obviously. I've already pre-ordered their album. I know you're going. I pre-ordered their album already from Amazon. I was just waiting for it to release, and I look it up, see what the tour is. They're coming to Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater
on my birthday
in June in Phoenix.
Okay, I thought I could have sworn there was one day. There's something coming into Arizona on July 9th.
Well, okay, I think it's July. I think you're right. But again,
because I remember going,
that's the hottest part of the year. Kim's vertical will not allow her to be out in the heat.
Mm,
You know, and even I
yeah.
don't care if the show starts at 7, it's still hotter than you know what around here, people. We are friggin' Tatooine in the summertime for a reason. I mean, when Anakin says he hates sand, I get it, you know, and it's because we live here, and because of her vertical, she can't do it,
Mhm.
and it bugs the hell out of me because 'cause I'm like, when I heard they were doing this tour thing, they're doing with what, Paula Abdul, right? Or who are they
Yes,
doing with?
I know. I'm
Oh, yeah,
hoping
with
this
Paula,
time. I'm
and I'm
hoping
like,
this
"I
time
wanna
she
go.
will be there.
I wanna go. I wanna go because I was a huge Paula fan."
Well, so I had seen them. Well, I've seen New Kids on the Block several times, but one time it was New Kids on the Block, Boys to Man, and Paula Abdul. Paula Abdul wasn't there that night. I remember going, son of a biscuit. Like, I really
Right,
wanted to see her. So I'm really hoping she's there this time around because I would love to see her. I've always wanted to see Paula Abdul since I was a little girl. And
right.
I'm like, oh, she's on my bucket list. Like, let's go. Let's do this.
You know,
So,
I mean, here's a shocker. I mean, again, probably not to our fans currently of this podcast and probably not even to you, but, like, for people who went to school with me, because again, I had the mullet 'cause my mom and dad wouldn't let me grow the full head of hair. So I only could have the back to a certain length, and the top had to be short, so I had the mullet. Had earrings, I still got earrings to this day. And of course, I wore the jean jackets, the ripped jeans. Everybody thought I was this headbanger or stoner, as they called us back in the
yeah,
day.
you weren't yeah.
Right. But when the girls would come over to my house and say, "Hey, we want some of the stoner music," you know, like Motley Crue, Rat, and all this stuff. And they're like, "Wait a minute, you got Paula Abdul, you've got Janet Jackson, you got Michael Jackson. Wait,
Yeah.
you've got Dolly Parton, you've got Kenya Tucker. What?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "I'm a lover. I'm a lover of all music."
Did
And I
you
think
see?
my
Okay,
parents did that.
finish. I gotta say something.
But I owned all, you know, at least the first 3 albums of Paula. You know, her very first one,
Mhm.
Straight Up. I don't remember, I think was
Spelling.
Spellbound her.
Spellbound.
Okay, so that was the second.
Love that
I
one.
guess I own her first 2. But again, I love both those albums.
I hope that when she's here in Chicago, that they will do opposites attract her and New Kids on the Block. Oh my God, please. But this is so funny because Donnie goes, okay, I got the voice, but here's the thing. Joey's got the moves.
So,
Because Joey does. He's got
yeah,
some really
right.
good moves.
Oh,
And he's
yeah. So, the funny part is, like, with
so
new kids,
but
and I don't
you know,
wanna
you mentioned go ahead.
go, no, you finish.
I have to tell you, I don't know if you saw, but you mentioned Tanya Tucker and you mentioned Dolly. They released a vinyl record from like the late 80s, early 90s. Yeah, it came across my thing and I was like, what? Like on Dolly's Reels. And I remember going, what? Yeah, I know, right? I know.
Awesome.
He's like, man, Nicole, why you gotta do that?
No, I'm also looking at the time because here in 10 minutes, I gotta at least kill my camera, so Kim can at least come out a little bit for her last break.
Yeah.
And
Um,
believe me, folks, she is not dressed for YouTube.
you could just turn off the thing and she go,
Yeah,
hello,
exactly. That's what I would do.
hello.
But
Let
I
me
mean,
see if I
you
can
know,
find
that
it.
was the thing is like, you know, I mean, my mom bought Ricky Van Shelton's very first album, and I fell in love with it with, you know, Crime of Passion song on there and a few other ones. And eventually me and Kim, we bought both. Oh yeah,
Honky Tonk Angels.
Honky Tonk. I actually had that on CD. Also had the cassette tape of that. You bought it when I lived in California. My parents had season tickets to the Lakers. I remember
Woo!
seeing Paula as a Laker. God, you bought
You
my
know, you
man.
just had to like,
You had to rub that in, brother.
wow.
All right, all right. You know what's ironic though is, you know, Lakers, right? I'm a Trailblazers fan.
I'm a Chicago Bulls girl. Sorry.
Well,
Not
okay.
sorry.
Yeah, well, I can just say this much. In the 90s, I hated the Bulls.
I loved them.
You know, the funny thing is,
But we're
Nicole,
still friends.
you know, the funny thing, I know, exactly. The funny thing is about that is I told somebody one time, like, well, how can you hate Michael Jordan? I'm like, because he's beating my team,
Exactly.
you know? And But at the same time, I said, but you wait. When he retires and is done with the game, I bet you $5 I respect him as a player, and I do to this day. To this day, I'm like, man, we got to witness greatness. Again, Chicago's had a lot of great players over time. And I don't mean just the Bulls. Bulls, you had Jordan, but let's talk Walter Payton.
Rodman.
Payton.
Yeah.
Walter Payton.
I mean, my dad can talk more than I can on that one.
I know. But it's just like, like Detroit Lion fans, they can sit there and yeah, gosh, I wish we had a Super Bowl, but damn, y'all had Barry freaking Sanders. I mean, watching that man to this day is like, again, it's like watching Walter Payton. I know a lot of people, when they talk about the 85 Bears, like, oh, you got to talk about refrigerator. Oh, fuck the fridge. He's just a big freaking fat guy that played line like myself. Hey, I can say it. I played line. Hey, guess what? What's funny about that, Nicole, is even in my high school, we were trying to do the same stuff. We were giving the big fat guy as a freaking ball to try to get goal lines and whatnot. But again, I mean, you may have the fridge, but I mean, come on. Jim McMahon, what a great quarterback. Mike Ditka, a great coach. Again, mind you, I'm a 49ers fan. In the 80s, I should hate everybody in the NFC, but I look at it this way. My team is in the NFC, National Football Conference. And with that, I will always cheer for NFC in the Super Bowl. Regardless of who's there. That's the way I am. Because, again, it's like college football. I'm a huge Nevada Wolfpack fan, but I'm also a Utah Utes fan. So, at the time, Utah Utes were part of the Pac-12. But anybody from the Pac-12 or Mountain West make it into bowl games, I'm rooting for those teams.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a conference. Don't matter how much we hate each other during the regular season. I know I've been fans. I've got friends who are Packer fans. Straight up, they're friggin' cheeseheads, and I'm like, dude, take your cheesehead and shove that son of a bitch up your ass.
Well, at least we got you on our side.
But again, I would root for them in the Super Bowl.
That's a no, Scott. Please get your shit together, Scott.
No. Again, they're still NFC, so I will root for them. Just like, everybody's like, oh my gosh, I hope all the non-NFL fans were rooting for the Lions to beat the 49ers. Sad part was I was too. I was actually rooting for the Lions because the Lions never been there. They never won the Super Bowl. If I told Kim my ultimate Super Bowl is the Lions versus the Browns. Two teams that have never been there. It may not be a great game, but it would be for me as a fan of the NFL. Let me see here what we got going here. Wow, you baldo. I saw Michael Jordan play when he was a rookie. Mother writer.
Wow, you and Ubaldo are gonna have some great conversations this week.
The thing is this. He, obviously, he brought up the fact that he saw Paula Abdul as a Laker girl at Laker games. So again, we're talking. He's seen him in person. I got to watch him. Yes, as a rookie, I watched him at North Carolina back in the day, watching the March Madness Final Four tournament. But yeah, I never went to a Blazers game at all to see him live in person. Mainly because I couldn't afford it back then. Nicole has a real Walter Payton jersey that I got from Jared.
Yeah, I got that, but
Yeah, I got that.
I'm kind of humble about things.
I got that. Yeah,
it's not signed or anything, but it's very important. My dad gave it to me.
Your dad gave it to you, but the fact that your dad got
it—that's what makes it really
Jared Payton, and it's a real Walter Payton jersey. That is friggin' awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you. Okay, again, earlier this morning, me and Kim did our racing episode.
I know my cats woke me up to it.
Well, of course, your cats will know. Hey, Mom, everybody's on. We're on.
Going online.
They know we're on.
Yeah,
but
they do.
I will tell you this much: when I go to North Carolina, if I ever make it to North Carolina to go to Charlotte for the Charlotte race or whatever, the one place I'm stopping at is going to be 2311 Race Team. That is a race team owned by Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan.
Let's go.
Because MJ is a huge NASCAR fan.
I'm sure he is. He's a sports guy.
Well, he grew up on it. Because again, North Carolina, he grew up on NASCAR. And I love it.
I mean, here we've got, of course, stuff in Chicago. We have the Joliet, we have the Speedway. But like then we got like little stuff around our area, like the smallers, like Sycamore Speedway, where it's just like the locals, the rough and gruff, and that's the real stuff.
Now here's the thing, people. Nicole's bringing up short track racing, local short track racing. Now I'm just like, oh, I've got to go. Because
I'm telling you,
that is where it starts.
I'm getting your guys' travel figured out. So you guys are going to come to visit. We're going to go to the Sycamore Speedway.
All right, there's a Super 8 nearby, right?
Snapchat is playing, so we go to see the band play. So one night's one night, one night's the next. You're never going to sleep.
Thank God you're driving, Ubaldo, because we're going to need it, brother. Come on over.
I was like, let's go. He's like, do you mind?
I'm pretty sure there's a Super 8 nearby.
Yeah. I do have a Super 8 actually right down the street.
Well,
you asked.
I know I asked, but it also doesn't hurt to look things up on your own as things get sent to you. I mean, but yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like the only downfall. I mean, again, I know they're coming back to the Chicago street race this year. My only thing I have about that is like, we have Chicagoland already. We already have a raceway, an oval raceway already built. Why are we not going back to it? I mean, again, I don't know what's going on with Chicago on that part of it. I don't know if like I don't know where it's exactly located in that general area, but I don't know if there's like some things trying to shut down NASCAR or whatnot.
Well, I know that. I know in Joliet though, that's where one of the
Joliet. Yes, thank you.
Joliet Speedways, and then whatever else Chicago's got, and then but then you have the short track, which I mean that's what I grew up on though. Was
right. Exactly. So again, you're talking like short tracks, and that's the thing is I grew up along a lot of less short tracks. Before we moved back or we moved to Oregon, my dad took me to my mom and dad and my sister. We went to a track called Rose City Speedway. It's no longer there. And the one weekend I remember going was the next weekend along their bigger track was going to be Donnie Allison was coming. That was a big NASCAR star at the time. Late 70s, Donnie Allison's coming. My dad, not God rest his soul, he's still alive, but he wanted to take me to it. He wanted me to go to it. He wanted me to see it, but I didn't get to. And then we moved back to Battle Mountain, Nevada. Small as me and Kim always say, as you travel along I-80, if you blink, you'll miss the town. It's a little bit bigger than that, but it's a small town. We had a local dirt track out there. Through the 80s, we constantly went to races. Eventually, I worked and was a flagger out there in the 90s, late 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And here in Yuma, we have our own Kokobah Speedway, which is another dirt track.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, what people don't realize is a lot of your short tracks or your local tracks is where your stars of tomorrow come from.
Right.
This is where they start. They start here. And eventually they come out and become who they become.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually you can see them on TV going, oh, okay. I recognize that name. Like unfortunately for me, I've not had anybody have that been happen to me. Luckily for us here in Yuma, we have got to meet. Me and Kim have been out there. Well, the first time I went out, they got to meet somebody big was Casey Kane. At the time, he was driving for Hendrick Motorsports in NASCAR. The next time when Kim got to go, we got to meet Kenny Schrader. Now, to mention Kenny Schrader, he was a big friend, huge friend of Dale Earnhardt Sr. He was actually the man who went to Dale Earnhardt's car on the 2001 Daytona 500 and realized something was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't talk to him about this, but then we got our picture taken with Kenny Wallace, and I'm sitting there trying to take a selfie, and Kenny Wallace like, no, give me the phone, give me your phone, And again, that's the younger brother of Rusty and Mike Wallace. and he takes a selfie with me and Kim and him. You know, I mean, both me and Kim got our mask. I mean, again, I think it was right around 2020 when you had to wear a mask. You know, and so I think both of us got our masks on that picture, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, at this point, right?
Right. You know, again, it's still like, because the one thing I remember, like when we were talking to him, was like, he's like, his kids were getting on him about get the hell off Twitter because he was causing so much. He was kind of going really crazy with all the political stuff at the moment. And so he was just like, but just to hear him say it, like, oh my gosh, this is the man I watched on like Speed TV when he would do the things on there besides being a race car driver. And he's just as crazy, people, in real life as he is on TV. There's no difference. Like, you know, because sometimes like, you wonder, like, are these people different than what they are on TV compared to what they are in real life?
Right.
And to find like Kenny Wallace be the same guy, like, oh my gosh, you know, that guy is authentic. You know, people can't imagine this guy because you feel like he's on cocaine 100% of the time. But, you know, but he's just high on life, which is awesome, even at his older age now. But yeah. All right. Let me kill my camera real quick because Kim's got to come out. Yeah, there it is. Stop Kim. There we go. All right, Kim, you can come down.
Hi, Kim.
Come on down. You're the next.
Come on down. It's The Price is Right. I mean, it's the used and abused show.
Right. Well, she's not down here yet, so she's coming down though. I'm gonna turn the mic up in case she wants to jump on and say hi to everybody. Oh, she will in just a moment. She needs to go probably use the restroom real quick. She's been sitting back there driving herself crazy. We have there we go. Although we have Beto Speedway Park dirt track down here. I love it. So much fun. Exactly, Ubaldo, man. Exactly, man. Dirt. I love it. I mean, again, I also, as a kid, went to a short track in Meridian, Idaho, called Meridian Speedway. Matter of fact, the ironic part of that track is the fact that, oh gosh, what's her name? Current female driver in the Busch series, Busch series. Haley Deegan. Thank you, Kim. I knew somebody would give it, but Haley Deegan won her very first race there at Meridian for the NASCAR West, or what used to be the NASCAR West. I think it's now ARCA West, but she won her first very race there at Meridian Speedway, and that's in just outside of Boise, Idaho. Again, it's a short little paved bouldering. Anyway, there comes Kim. Later, talk to everybody.
Yes, Haley Deegan is in.
You guys put headphones on. Here, have my headphones.
I wasn't put mine on.
Hello.
Hi, Kim.
Hello.
Long time no see.
Yeah, I know.
Somehow, one way or another, we all three of us on this damn show.
Yeah, we do.
We just pick the craziest times. This is what we do, people. This is how we roll.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing really scheduled. It's like, let's go live.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. So yeah,
work.
I
mean, eventually we're gonna be back. I'm sure there will be announcements soon.
Hopefully, yes.
Soon.
Yes.
So this is why you have to be like subscribed to us, because you just never know when they're gonna go live, or when I'm gonna jump on, or when we finally get our yeah, you know, because they're coming. Stuff's coming.
Yes.
So you gotta stay tuned. So. How have you been? How are things? How are you, Kim?
I'm doing all right.
Good. My dad and Ubaldo, I can see they both have. I can see Kim, and then hi, Kim. So yeah.
Hello.
in the chat. So,
okay.
And we've just been spouting off whatever.
From what I can tell, yeah. From music to racing to basketball, yeah.
Sports, we're covering it all.
Yeah.
Ubaldo, yes, you have not talked to me in a long time, Ubaldo. You stop that.
Hey, you want to give everybody the news?
What?
About your schedule.
Oh, yes.
Go ahead, give our whole...
I I know the
Podcasting.
news.
Update
But-
about your schedule.
Okay. I was too tired this morning to say
Because I'm playing friggin'
anything.
what's it called?
But
What's the game?
I still have to work Sunday through Thursday with Friday, Saturday off. But starting April 7th. Anyway, the first Sunday,
April 7th.
April 7th. Hello. Hello, Sorceress Galinda.
That's Glinda.
You girl.
That is the beautiful Glinda.
Yes. Starting April 7th, I do go to work at 7 in the morning and we'll get off at 3 our time. So fingers crossed we can actually start coming back with the podcast.
Woohoo! We're
Fingers
ready.
crossed.
Sure. What was that? Just a few hours ago?
So, well, thank you everyone for tuning in with Scott and Nicole. I do have to go back to work. So hopefully I will see you on the flip side when we get everything together.
Flip side. What are
It's
we?
all good. I probably got to get going too because I have to get up and go to work in the
On the
morning.
flip side,
Oh,
10-4?
What?
I'll let him repeat it.
What?
What?
Catch on the flip side, 10-4?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's friggin' trucker talk.
Oh, I heard that.
Yep, yep, yep. All right.
My cutie, cutie, cutie.
Over Mike.
Um,
Hello. Who's riding on a friggin' motorcycle this late at night? Never mind. It's Yuma, Arizona. I should know better. Oh, hey. Oh, no, I can't because I'm waiting for Kim to go back to work.
It's okay.
Just
I
the-
got to get going very shortly because I got to get up and go to work.
Yeah, you do.
I need to
But-
sleep.
You had a great
um,
you had a great show tonight. I mean, again,
It was
you
a really
you-
good book review.
it
I'm
was.
very proud of the members that have been a part of this journey. It was bittersweet. I'm not going to lie to you. In the past week, when it really occurred, like when we were entering in the final week, I remember thinking to myself, like, wow, like this started off with one book and then we decided to do the trilogy. And, you know, when you've been on this journey with others for so long, it's just like, oh, like this door is closing. And at the same time, you know, another door is closing to another book. But it was just, I don't know. There was just like, it was bittersweet. And, yeah. I mean,
Hey,
yes,
Scott,
I mean, I'm going
Scott.
to be.
Hey, real quick. This is for me.
Please, please, please get your shit together.
So yeah, it was kind of emotional for me underneath it all, but I
Yeah.
was
Well,
yeah,
I mean, this
very
is your first.
very
This is your
proud.
first
of
series,
those
right? I mean,
What?
this is the first book, the first series. You guys done your very first series under the reading,
Yeah.
Red 5 reading.
Yeah.
And now the one
Yeah.
thing, and again, I almost really wanted to through the Red 5 chat. You know, obviously, we mentioned this chat once in a while on this show. I really wanted to send Rolo a message like, dude, just send me a friggin' link real quick so I can jump in and help my BFF here because, you know, you have these youngsters sitting here talking about about how this is all different. You know, well, yeah, when you read this book in 2024 compared to 1991 through, you know, whatever, 95.
Hey, we did come to a conclusion that
No,
was
I know,
important.
I know.
We did
But,
listen.
you know, but I mean, again, you know, it was one of those things like for me, like when I remember I bought the book on paperback when it first came out in paperback. And I started reading it. I'm like, yeah, you know what? No. No one is allowed to write anything about Star Wars but George Lucas. Again, I became a gatekeeper at that moment,
Mhm.
right? And then it wasn't until I joined some book club, you know, one of those Columbia House version book clubs.
Not
and I
the
got
cool
the-
ones like Ubaldo and I are in. Yeah.
Right. And I got this friggin' Jedi Academy. I remember, I think Ian was talking about tonight.
Ian was
where,
talking about that. Yeah.
Right. And it came in a trilogy set. And I finally sat down and read this book. Went, oh,
It's good.
okay. Oh, you know what? I can kind of dig this. And so I went back, and unfortunately, by then I couldn't find like book 2 and book 3 to Timothy Zahn's book, but I did read Heir to the Empire at one point and went, okay. But I never could finish the story because I didn't know nothing about it. And again, there's no like knowledge out there, whatnot. But at the same time, Zahn had to get approval from Lucas. So I wonder, like, how much of this stuff was still, did George say, hey, here's what I'm looking at for this. But I also did, while you guys were doing your show, I did look up some information and found out a lot of what Timothy Zahn wrote in that trilogy series, Lucas took and added to the prequels.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Okay, I must have missed
We
that
did
part.
talk about that.
That might have been that
Force
gap.
we just
That
talked
might have been that gap real quick where I was back to listening to the beginning of the show, getting through all the announcements, and then going, okay, let me go live. Get to where you guys were currently at. Because again, like I said, when I first got on the show, you were just introducing Ian, right? Then went backwards, and where you brought Ro came on for a minute again, because you're like, wait, what the hell's going on here? Ro, help!
Oh my gosh, yeah, we are gonna have to figure out the videos because the videos are like Red 5, and like, oh, Red 5, and I go, oh.
Yeah, right. Like Red 5 live, and you get scared.
People have got to be like, what
the hell's going on here? I thought this was on
like,
a
5.
You
got a new co-host? No.
Yeah. That's, but yeah. And then, so I'm like, okay, I get done with the announcements because, again, we talked, literally just a few hours before that, about an hour before that, because you were asking me some questions, on the phone. And I'm like, okay, so I get caught up there. I'm like, okay, let me go live. And I'm also like, oh, there's my BFF. Because again, I see Ubaldo. Again, I see him as Vader. Again, I already knew we were BFFs right there because of Vader. Again, and again, you saw it earlier tonight. You're doing that that contest, and your favorite Star Wars character has always been Vader for me.
Yeah.
Always been Vader.
That it will help, like, I would love to see more people in the book club. You know what I mean? I want to give that opportunity. So I'm like, well, let's try this.
Speaking of my BFF, for one, I'm gonna get The Martian. I don't care if I win the actual copy of the book. If I do, I'll let Kim read it. But I'm gonna buy it off of Apple. Get the digital copy. I'm gonna read it with y'all. So I'm gonna try to be in your guys' book club, and then at the same time, my BFF sits there and like, well, hey, this, the women, what's it called? Oh gosh.
Anyway, the book that he's reading.
Yeah, the book he's gonna read.
Women or Ubaldo, what's the book you're reading this week? So here we are. Hold up. So last night I told him, I said, I would like for each of you guys to bring something to like share what you're going to be doing this week. And then I forgot.
Here we go.
It wasn't I forgot. I actually had my stuff. I just left it in the packaging and forgot to get it out. And then totally forgot.
It's a book by Kara Cooney, When Women Ruled the World, 6 Queens of Egypt. And I'm like, okay, Ubaldo recommended this book. I want to read this friggin' book. Again, I think it's going to be a cool friggin' book. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm going to read. I'm going to download it. And I told Kim, I'm like, I'm going to buy this book. And she's like, why? I'm like, because Ubaldo friggin', he's like, he recommended it. So I'm like, yeah, I want to read this book too. At the same time, I also
Women Ruled the World.
Yeah.
Queens of Egypt. Yeah.
Yep. And again, I made sure as soon as he said it, I looked it up and went, okay, it's this much on Amazon for paperback. Oh, look, it's $4 cheaper on Apple for the digital download. And that's the way I look at it now, because again, I don't have room for books. I brought a box of books home because my daughter's like, calls her aunt. Because again, long story short, when her sister, Kim's sister, passed away, that was Hannah's stepmom. That was the one Hannah considered mom. And again, Kim has never asked these kids, Hannah or Colby, to call her mom. She's like, I will always be Aunt Kim to these kids. Okay. I'm not going to force it. And of course, those kids now have gone along like, well, as far as Aunt Kim goes, she's grandma to our kids.
Right. Yeah.
we don't want to explain this one to them.
Yeah.
And so Hannah sends me at home a box of books. And I mean a box. In this box is a bunch of the women's murder club book.
Ah,
Book series. Kim's a huge fan of this stuff. But also, she throws in there, I want to say, Lone Survivor is in there.
okay.
I mean, there's some stuff in there where Hannah's like, well, what do you think of this, Dad? I'm like, yeah, throw that one in there. I want to read that. I want to read that. Before, and a lot of it is because I want to read it before the movie.
Right.
yeah.
Well, and that's why I picked the book I'm reading
Right.
this week, is because in a week it's coming out, and one, I like the author. Two, it's like another genre that I like, that I can enjoy going from sci-fi into another sci-fi. I really want something that, speaks to another part of me. And also something, because if I get into it, I will read fast. And usually if I can read it fast, then I'll get it done real quick.
So I have a question for you.
Yes.
I was going to shoot this out for the book club earlier, but I decided to hold back.
Okay.
And I really just want to have your opinion on this.
Let's go.
So, again, we know with this sequel trilogy, we're talking Star Wars here, people.
Okay.
The sequels, 7, 8, and 9. We know Aftermath was released as a build-up to Force Awakens.
I saw that. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I want to, and I'm just curious how, and Ubaldo, you can answer this in the chat
He
too.
can neither
Spencer,
deny nor confirm.
right. Or Spencer, if you're still in here, you can answer too.
I gotta get him a t-shirt that says that.
But here's the thing for me is, as a fan of movies, and again, I'm more of the, I don't like having to watch all these TV shows, read all these comic books, and read all these books to be able to understand a trilogy. Am I wrong or am I right?
I mean, if you enjoy it, though, I mean, some people enjoy that. You know what I mean?
Okay, again, I understand that, but if you're trying to grow, what I look at is, if you're trying to grow the product, you want to bring in casual fans. Well, how can you bring casual fans when you're forcing, literally saying, well, okay, here we did like a sequel trilogy. Now we're going to release, let's say 25 books to make everything make sense from before, from Return to episode 7, and then episode 7 in between 8 in between 9, and so on and so forth. Again, if you're trying to bring a casual fan, they're going to be, honestly, what I remember from watching those sequels, and I need to watch them again, people, just so everybody knows, I need to watch them again. Last time I saw Rise of Skywalker was release weekend. I own the Blu-ray. Actually own the 4K Blu-ray. I've never watched, me and Kim never watched it. And it's probably because we just don't want it to end, probably. But again, should I have to read all these books to make something make sense?
I don't know. Like Aftermath, I got one of the books, and I found it like thrifting, and I was like, oh, I have to have it. And then, what I looked at is, oh, this looks interesting. And then when Mandalorian came out with Cobb Vanth, and there was the whole thing with, oh my gosh. And then I'm like, oh, now I got to get the whole thing. Now that I know that there's more, I had to get the other two. And I'm pretty sure I thrifted the other two. I'm pretty sure. And I just haven't read them. Like, I used them for research, but I didn't like
Right.
I like what Ubaldo says. It's also fun to mix it up. I get, each person's a little bit different. So it's just so hard, because some people just want that casual fan, and other people like, no, give it to me. And I'm just like, dude, I'm just trying to enjoy whatever.
Now, one thing Backyard Tars brought up earlier, and even Brett agreed with him, was this gatekeeping shit's got to end. Gatekeeping is, oh my gosh, quit it. Either you like it or you don't. And again, I'm not going to gatekeep stuff. If you, I always say, everyone that enjoys the Clone Wars, and enjoys Bad Batch, enjoy it.
Oh my gosh, this season of the Bad Batch is so good.
It's not my cup. I'm not a huge fan of the cartoons, and I think a lot of that is because my dad beat my fucking head when I was younger, that when I was a certain age, cartoons were not supposed to, again, don't get me wrong, I love my dad to death, but he went to Vietnam. that right there. I mean, when you're a young child and you have to sit there and go, Dad, wake up and hit the fucking floor so you don't get punched because he might think you're a Viet Cong when you're a little kid, because that's what happened. They sent the little children in there with bombs attached to them. You know, I get it, you know, but at the same time, it's like, I remember asking a friend of ours, a family friend, and the guy is the same age as my dad. I'm like, I looked at him, and the guy's name is Jim Caravan. I wish I knew where they were at this. I don't know where they live right now, but I'm like, what do I have to do not to be him? And I'm pointing at my dad. What do I have to do not to be this guy?
Mm-hmm.
And all he said was to me is, remain a kid at heart.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard for me. You know, there's times where I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm not supposed to like cartoons, you know, but I did enjoy Rebels.
I love
You know,
Rebels. You know this. I love Rebels.
Right.
But I'm telling you, if you liked Rebels, you're gonna love Bad Batch, especially when you get to this final season. It's just kind of like Rebels. You can't stop. Like, no joke. When this is done, I will probably go back and binge it. This final season is so like. I cannot even like, it's really good writing. It's the stuff that we want, and spoiler alert, but a few things that show
you can
up
spoiler.
in Heir to the Empire series trilogy is in the Bad Batch, and it's like,
right on.
Yes, and which is kind of bittersweet. We actually talked about this last night, Ubaldo and myself and Spencer and Mount Tantus, and we were talking. My question was what happens if they do the same thing that happens in the Last Command? What will happen if that happens in Bad Batch? I'm like, y'all, we're gonna be balling. That's what I was thinking, and then we're gonna be crying.
You get attached to the characters. I mean, come on. I mean,
and these ones are character development in a whole way that you will be like, oh, I can't believe they could create a character that you hated at one point, and then the next thing you know, you love him and you're rooting for him and you want everything great.
Yeah. Well, that's like going, you know, it's like, you know, speaking of that, it's like going to episode 1 for the very first time in 99 and going, okay, here we got Obi-Wan. Okay, I recognize the name. Obviously, I don't recognize the actor because it's not, you know, it's not. I mean, again, I'm like, okay, you are Obi-Wan. You're Qui-Gon. Who the hell are you? I've never heard your name before. Who are you? You know, and I'm trying to make sense of all this stuff. And then also we meet little Anakin, and I'm like, I'm supposed to hate you, but you're so young and cute. How can I hate you? You know, and again, you keep hearing, you know, all the stuff he talks about, you know, and it's like, wow, okay. And then also, you know, of course, I know a lot of fans like, oh, midi-chlorians, what the hell is that? Like, whatever. You know, it's Lucas. This is his play. This is his sandbox. I accept whatever George Lucas hands me.
Mm-hmm.
And I will accept it to this day. And again, you know, this whole thing about Jake Lloyd, you know, I love that kid from day one.
Poor kid.
I mean, oh my gosh, what he has dealt with. And the fact that it wasn't because he, you know, what happened with the fans, his mother blocked him from the fans. He didn't know about the hatred for him, for his acting. Again, it's not his acting, it's George Lucas directing him. You know what I mean? Bring it all on Lucas, but he was eventually diagnosed with schizophrenia. I'm like, oh my gosh.
It's a lot.
You know, poor kid. I mean, I feel for him. And hey, Jake Lloyd, if you're, I mean, I doubt you're watching Using Abuse Pod, but hey, if you are, brother, just so you know, me as an OG, OT, original loving fan, I love you as Anakin, brother. I fell in love with your character. I really did. I thought you did a great job as young Anakin. You know, you helped that part along. Again, I was I mean, I'll be one of the first ones to admit when I heard that some kid named Hayden Christensen's going to play the next Anakin, I'm like, what happened to Jake? Well, because of, you know, age differences. Didn't realize we were going to up the age bracket real quick, you know, but again, I'm one of those ones who, when I went and seen Phantom Menace, I've been begging for something Star Wars related on this big screen. That when I went and watched Phantom Menace, I loved it.
Yeah.
You
it's
know?
so exciting I'm so excited. I will, whether I go see any 24-hour stuff, I will at least go see the movie that day.
I already told Kim, more than likely the way it's looking, well, actually now it's not because her schedule changed. She is no longer available Sunday morning. So now it's like, okay, we got to do this Saturday morning. So I'm going to literally have to buy tickets for me, my mom, my dad, and her for Saturday morning matinee to watch it that weekend.
Perfect. You know why? It's May the 4th and Free Comic Book Day.
Right. Well, I mean, the thing is this, my parents, my mom has no idea about this prequel stuff because, you know, I was, well, it was what, 1999, 71, and I was what, 19, 18. No, I was more than that. Jesus. The hell was I? 2 years from being, oh God, I got to do 30. So I was 28 years old, 28, 29 when Phantom Menace came out. Right. And I acted like a little kid going to see it. You know, mind you, I was married to an 18-year-old. Yes.
Well, we should definitely visit this.
Oh, heck yeah. But and again, like I told him, I said, I want to go back and see Phantom Menace in the theater because I've not seen it since 1999. You know, the funny thing is I tell Kim, you know, ironically, I saw me and Karina, her sister, who passed away a long time ago, we saw Phantom Menace 3 times in the theater.
Yeah.
We went and watched Attack of Clones twice. Here's the funny, ironic people, is we saw episode 3 once in the theater. Yet my favorite lightsaber battle is still episode 3 to this day. Yeah. And again, I love the lightsaber battle. Me and Nicole actually had a chat about this a few days ago. We both love the lightsaber battle with in Last Jedi.
Yeah.
With
the throne scene.
Yeah, the throne.
Kylo Ren. Yeah.
Beautiful. And again, you know, it was one of those moments. But again,
it was choreographed level. It was choreographed well.
Now, don't get me wrong. I love the Obi-Wan Darth Vader. It wasn't much of a battle. That wasn't much of an enemy back in A New Hope. But then, gosh, you get Luke and Vader. Hello. And then we get what we got in Return of the Jedi. Again, that's what, for me, that's what saved Jedi was Luke and Vader. I don't know, Nicole, you gotta get going.
I do gotta get going. I'm like, I do have to sleep tonight, y'all.
Yeah, you do.
My cats wake me up at 4 a.m. people. Hopefully they won't in the morning. Hopefully they'll let me sleep in.
Alfie and Glenda, be kind to mama and let her sleep.
They're not even in the room. They're like, nah.
We ain't hearing a thing, Sky. We don't care what you say. We'll wake her up when we feel like it. And see, the thing is, they don't care about time change. When they're hungry and want to get up, they're ready to get up.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and here's the other thing. I think they hear my grandfather's alarm go off for his medicine, so then they get up, and I'm like, no. And then I fall back to sleep, but then I can't sleep because I got to get up again. I got to go to work and all that stuff. So
up all night, sleep all day.
Yeah, I can't do that tomorrow, Scott. I got to go to work. Normally, I'm off on Tuesdays.
I literally just saw on Facebook, Slaughter's going to be in Vegas. And I'm like, of course, they're from Vegas. And I'm like, can I be in Vegas for this show? I love Slaughter to death. You know, but
yeah.
Anyways, Nicole, thanks for jumping on with me tonight.
Yes, I know. Normally, I don't work on Tuesdays. So I know. I wouldn't care if I was up.
Oh, that's right.
I know. It's probably throwing you off.
It is throwing.
I'm like, I work on a Tuesday once a month I
have no idea what freaking day of the week we are in. I mean, I knew it was Monday at some point today. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, because Sidebar was on then. And of course, after we got done with the show, I'm like, I forgot to pump during our show, during our racer. You forgot to pump out Red 5 reading. It was like, hurry up, Nicole, sorry, forgive us.
It's all good, but I do have to get going. Thank you to my dad Ubaldo for hanging out in the chat. I do know that obviously I saw Spencer earlier, or was that Isaac? So, yeah.
Thank you, Kenny. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I give him a load of crap, but I'll tell you one thing. I always respect him, and I do thank him constantly for his service in defending this country, even though, and again, I think that's why for our generation, definitely Gen X, we grew up in a different generation where we were taught to respect our military regardless. You know, because my dad came home during the era when they were spitting on people. You know, and that's one of my hardest things to deal with. But Nicole, thank you again for jumping in.
Yes. I have to sleep.
And by the way,
people.
people, somehow, some way, one way
Yes.
or another, we
Yes.
will be back. We are coming back full stream, not just racing episodes, but with me, Kim, and Nicole. We were gonna get this figured out. We'll figure it out at the time. It will be Sunday nights, but we will figure it out one way or another.
Yep. All
And
right.
then who knows what we're gonna talk about then,
Everything and anything underneath the sun at this point.
including Debbie Does Dallas. Thank you very much, people.
No, not that. No. No. My dad is in the chat. Behave yourself.
Oh, your dad's probably watched it.
I don't. TMI. No. Nobody needs.
I'm joking, Kitty.
No.
I'm joking, Kitty. No, seriously. No, I mean, if we're gonna do that, we might as well go to OnlyFans.
No. You both don't
Nicole,
save me. Help me.
have a great work day tomorrow. Be
Ugh,
safe.
yeah.
If you got any weather in your area, please be safe.
Yes, you too. It's
And
rain.
of course, me and Kim always keep you in our prayers.
Thank you. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. And we
Appreciate
keep
it.
you and your family. I mean, and
Yeah.
you have a good night. Okay.
Yep. You guys have a good night.
All right.
Peace out.
Always. I'm gonna continue with this little party again.
Have
People in the
fun.
chat, throw me out. Throw me some band names, songs, or whatnot, and I'll tell you what I've heard of or what I think of the band or artists you send me. But this is it's supposed to be. I told Kim it wasn't gonna be like bringing. No, I ain't gonna be on more than less than an hour. Yeah, we know how that went. But again, glad Kim could jump in for a bit. I'm glad Nicole was able to jump in. I'm happy for everybody in the chat. This has been a fun night. Again, this all started because I was literally going through Apple Music, got ticked off because I was actually looking for autograph Blondes and Black Cars on Apple Music and also on Spotify. And of course, none of them have That's the Stuff album, which like, really? How come? Come on now, Apple and Spotify, get your shit together, button.
Please, please, please get your shit together.
Anyways, so then I come across like, oh, let me listen to a song by Kick Tracy. Again, their very debut album came out in 1991. Listen to a song, Don't Need No Rules. We don't need no rules. We're Gen X. And then got listened to Tora Tora. Again, I was playing songs from definitely the song Guilty from their first album, Surprise Attack. I had that on cassette. That was the very first time I bought it. Found it on CD eventually. And again, now I really need to make a list of albums I want to go look for on LP. Not just stuff from the 70s and stuff from the 60s. Again, I don't know, for those of you who watched the last live stream was about racing, but the last live stream about opening evening, I picked up a brand new unopened, unsealed copy of Janice Riley's 1968 debut album, Harbor Valley PTA. That was a replacement of my mom's that me and Kim talked about this a few years ago when we started buying vinyl albums, is I want to replace everything I destroyed as a kid. As a youngster, I destroyed a lot of records. And I want to replace all those ones with either brand new or close to brand new. Near me, it's a little pricey on some stuff. So even though I can get a very good plus, which is better than most of the stuff I have, I will replace. Through that time, I've actually got to replace some albums that, like, my sister got me was an Elvis Presley legendary performance. If you go back and look at Used and Abused, especially on Instagram, if you go back, you'll probably see one of our very original album covers, which has the iPod, Def Leppard Hysteria CD, a cassette tape. I think it was Styx, if I remember right. And then there's a record, and that is the actually cover of the legendary performance, which was actually released after Elvis passed away, that I have. And luckily through eBay, when we were buying some lot records, I bought some lot records. I actually got a new copy of it, which was freaking awesome for me because, like, as a kid, I destroyed shit. Mentioning some stuff here, by the way. Right on. Yeah, Baldo, I'm happy you mentioned Miami Vice soundtrack. Freaking awesome, especially on vinyl. I'd have to pull it out, but a few years ago, we got a copy of it too. It was one of those big lots where we bought like 25 records, random shit. You don't know what's in it. And in there, they had a copy of Miami Vice. And I want to say it was like a Holland version. Hold on. I can look this up because I have it. This should be added into my Discogs. Again, if you guys don't use Discogs, it's a really great feature to use as long as you keep it up to date, which mine's not. Let's see, soundtrack albums. Obviously, you got to go under various artists. Miami Vice. I know I have it. But yo, Ball, that's awesome, man, dude. I'm happy you got that. Yeah. Let's see here real quick. Oh, I'm sorry. Ours is a European version of Miami Vice. It's crazy though. I mean, the fact that we got a European version through, I mean, we spent probably $20 on 25 records. And again, it was a lot. So we picked during those times, early days of 2019 before 2020, we bought, I mean, we would, if we had the money, we'd spend buy 5 different boxes of 25 so 100 records would come in the door. And then we would go through and like, oh my gosh, look, we got this, or oh my god, we got We Are the World, or we got look, Miami Vice. Oh wait, this is not an American release, it's a European release. What? This is crazy. Or John Denver Greatest Hits Volume 2 was I want to say it was a Philippines release, which then we found out was a bootleg copy of the album. Like, what? Okay, so they didn't release all these albums overseas for everything. And it's crazy. But yeah, Givaldo, I'm happy you got Miami Vice. A buddy of mine had that, had the cassette back in the day. And of course, I doubled, copied it, put it on, double time. The album and ship, I don't know, you really hear it because you just do double time, record it on cassette. And man, those days, I actually got a dual cassette here over here beside me, which is freaking cool because I can still do like the old school dual, double cassette. 1 year over at Goodwill, I found a brand 5 new TDK recording cassettes, which is crazy. Like, really? Brand new? Unopened? Cool. I'll make a mixtape. I haven't made a mixtape yet. One of these days, Scott's going to make a mixtape. Old school make a mixtape. Play some records, play some CDs, play some stuff off cassette deck or cassette tape. I really want to go as crazy. I really want, how crazy I want to be, y'all. I want to go buy an 8-track player and get some old school 8-tracks. I know I knock them on here. We've talked about it multiple times where, my God, halfway through or three-quarters of the way through the song fades. And you hit it, and it clicks to the next track, and it fades back in for about 3 seconds, and then it fades back out. And then you get the next song, like, what? How stupid was that? But it was a technology they had at the time. Anyways, I'm just rambling. This is all this is. Rambling. Have fun. We're having fun. That's all we're doing is having fun. Again, some of the stuff we did earlier. This is probably one of my favorite finds on. I've been wanting to buy this off of Walmart. Wanted to go to Walmart, buy it. They wanted $69 for it for a DVD set. I'm like, wow, that's a lot of money for a DVD, not Blu-ray set. What I'm looking at. But I ended up finding it on eBay for $40. And again, that's the good old boys. This is the complete series of Dukes of Hazzard. Again, I love the Dukes of Hazzard. For me, Dukes of Hazzard, Greatest American Hero, Mork and Mindy, those are my sitcoms. Yet there's one sitcom I've not been able to find, at least I haven't done a lot of research on it, but that's my problem, is my favorite TV show, at least one point in the 70s, was BJ and the Bear. And again, we've got, I know we did the episode where I showed off my Battlestar Galactica set. Again, that was another show I loved. You know, everybody wants to talk, like, oh well, I got into Star Wars, again, we've all got those friends who are like, it's all Star Wars. Oh, you like how dare you like Star Trek and Star Wars? I'm like, well, fuck you, because I like Star Trek, Star Wars, and Battlestar Galactica. I'm one of the weird ones. I know. Sorry, but Apollo and Starbuck were my favorite people. Not to mention little kid Boxy with Muffet, and especially when Muffet became a robot dog. Who didn't want Muffet as a dog? I did. I wanted my own Muffet. And of course, my mom's got pictures of me where I remember getting like a little toy Muffet, back in the day. And of course, this is the thing, man. I would love to have me a Colonial Viper. Again, I've always in the TV show, I was a huge fan of Apollo and Starbuck. Those are my two favorite. Again, there was Boomer was fucking. As I gotten older, I had different copies of the DVDs or Blu-rays or whatnot of the TV show or the movie. I also love Boomer, but yeah. Yeah, right? Ubaldo, the semi-truck for BJ and the Bear. My mom was doing ceramics, and she made, again, young Scott didn't understand that when you got ceramics, they're not fucking Hot Wheels. My mom made a ceramic semi-truck. Had the box on it, the box, the 53 or 50 foot, whatever, the 53 foot trailer box. If not, oh God, what do they call them? Flat face. Damn it. I know there's a specific word for them, and I freaking forget. But anyways, it's the flat face semi trucks. She painted that sucker red and white and literally put BJ and the Bear on the trailer for me. And guess what? Yeah, I didn't sit up on a shelf. Oh, hell no. Scott was driving that thing. Scott was driving because guess what? You hooked it together. It was a ceramic, but it hooked together. I was driving it. I was driving around. She busted her ass, molding it, firing it, painting it for her young child to play with it. Because he didn't understand you can't play with ceramics. That's there's a lot of things where we always talk, or I talk on this show, regardless of what we're doing. I'm always talking. I'm like, if I had DeLorean, the one thing I would do is go back and kick the living shit out of myself for all the stuff I destroyed. My Star Wars toys, my mom's records, even this stuff, even the ceramics and stuff. Just because I'm like, I would love to have that stuff to this right now. I would love to be able to sit here and say, here's the truck. Here's what my mom made me. She even put her initials on it, and I remember the date on there when she fired. I don't remember the date now. I know it was in the 70s. But again, BJ and the Bear, it was a great TV show. I really wish I could find a DVD of it. And again, I would get a DVD of it because of the fact it was released in full or 4.3 visual versus the 16.9 that we have now with our current flat screen TVs. And again, I would love to have that back. But I was a destructive little child. Oh, the real truck is at a farm in Nebraska. A buddy of mine got pictures with it. Awesome, Kenny. That's freaking cool. That is cool. That is cool. And that's the thing. Like, one thing I love about YouTube, and of course, currently we're live on YouTube, or I'm currently live on YouTube. One thing I love about YouTube is these people who go around and look for different, like old filming locations. I just literally watched a video probably about a month ago now of a guy who literally found the Cold Trickle Mellow Yellow and one of the Rowdy Burns cars. And they were destroyed. They were just sitting in somebody's backyard. but he took them and he decided he wasn't going to restore them. It cost too much money to restore them. He decided to just leave them as is. But he put them in his showroom. And it was cool watching this guy go pick them up. Because again, he even talked about it on the video. Is this real? I was kind of skeptical about this stuff, and I don't blame him, because I would be too. But, and, one thing, again, I know me and Kim did an episode a while back ago about the movie Six Pack with starring Kenny Rogers. Again, if you've not seen that movie, if you can search it out. We had to buy the DVD of it, if I can remember right. But it stars Kenny Rogers, Diane Lane's in it. Erin Gray, I think her name's Erin Gray, the gal that played in the Buck Rogers TV show. Again, see, there's another sci-fi I was into, Buck Rogers. Also, I was into Star Trek, because in the 70s, they re-aired it. When I watched, Star Trek for the very first time, it was in the 70s. I didn't realize it was released in the 60s. I had no idea, but I liked it. Yabala says the Batman soundtrack was from Barnes & Noble, right? Yes, sir. It was definitely from Barnes & Noble. Yes, again, I should really just buck it up and buy a copy of the original 1989 original. But yes, the re-release was from Barnes. I did get it. Got mine at Barnes & Noble. I haven't played it yet. But again, I'm one of those weird ones. A lot of people, they didn't like that soundtrack. Yeah, I love that soundtrack. Here's a funny story with Young Scott. Young Scott did not know anything about Prince and the Revolution. Not a clue. Young Scott barely knew Quiet Riot, Mental Health, because that's where he kind of got into this harder music. After that, an older friend of mine who I just met had recorded me like Crocus, Kiss from Lick It Up and Animalize albums. A bunch of other stuff. Maniac, just all these different songs. You just put them on, this nice, great playlist on a mixtape. Nice, great mixtape back in the day. And while I went over to his place after listening to this mixtape he made me. And I'm like, hey, can I borrow some cassettes? By the end, my mom and dad, they bucked it up, got me a dual cassette Emerson boombox. Oh man, I need more C batteries, please. Those were the days, C batteries. But then again, I had a buddy who had one of the bigger ass ones that had D batteries. And I think that thing took like 8 to 12 D batteries. And we took that thing out on like track and field trips, during track season. That thing would go with us. We would have fun with that. But anyways, a buddy of mine was like, hey man, check this out. And during this time staying with this friend of mine, he played me the Rodeo song. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go look it up. Because it's just one of those things. Alman left and Alman right. Come on, you fucking dummy. Get your right step right. Get off stage, you goddamn dude. You pissed me off. You fucking jerk. Get on my nerves. Well, here comes Johnny with his pecker in hand. He's one ball man. He's off the rodeo. He played me that. Played me a couple of, I want to say Jerry something. God damn, I can't remember that. Jerry Reed. But something else. I can't remember the guy's name. Another funny guy. He played me a couple of those. And also he played me Purple Rain soundtrack. Let's Go Crazy. Got eventually to Darling Nikki. Oh, what's this song talking about? Like, rewind that for a minute. Let me hear that again. Oh, mind you, 84, again, I was probably about to be 13 years old. So I'm close to that age bracket where, we notice things differently. That's the first time I heard Prince and the Revolution was Purple Rain. And again, I bought the Around the World in a Day, which had the song Raspberry Beret on it. And then, oh gosh, I don't remember. You know, he released the album that had that song "Kiss" on it. I was like, "Yeah, okay." Um, again, my for me, a lot of stuff in the '80s, like I didn't enjoy. The where I listen to it now, going, man, I was a dummy. And again, my musical tastes have changed, or have broadened, or widened as I've gotten older. And that's one thing I love about it. Like me and Kim always talked about on this show. You can go back to her very first, second, third, fourth episode she was on, which is probably I don't know which episode numbers, but it'd be almost a year into the show. Um, you can literally hear us talk about how I need to go back and listen to a lot of these even older hard rock bands, like Cinderella, Long Cold Winter, because until I hated that album, I hated the song, but in 2006 or '05, I mean, I ended up loving the song for what it was. I'm like, whoa, what the hell? And at the time, I was married to Kim's little sister, and she's like, "Your music, the music you once listened to, you've now broadened your horizons. Your music love has gotten wider than what you think it has." And again, at that same time, I was finding bands. I mean, on the Madden football game, NFL football game I had on the computer, they had to beat Backcountry by Avenged Sevenfold. Oh, talk about I fell in love with the band. And then find out they were coming. I was living in Reno at the time, Reno, Nevada, and they were coming to Lauder Event Center. They had Coheed and Cambria opening for him. And I'm like, I want to go. I only know 2 songs. I just saw Beast and the Harlot on MTV back when MTV actually showed music videos. And that was a late era of MTV showing music videos. But I didn't go. I kicked myself in the ass today because guess what? The Rev passed away, the drummer of Avenged Sevenfold. I could have had a chance to see that Son of a Gun live. Again, I'm a lover of all music. I don't sit here and go, "Oh, I won't listen to this." If somebody like Backyard Artist, he pointed out a song, it was a parody that Taylor Swift did of herself. He said on the one episode when we talked about it, he said, "I think you gotta check this out first before you listen to any other T Swift stuff." And I did. It was a rap she did with I want to say it was T-Pain, something like that. And it was freaking hilarious. But it was funny. And it made me actually respect her more. And again, I'm not listening to any other T Swift albums. I haven't listened to any of her songs yet. I've listened to that, and I listened to what Weird Al did. Again, I love my Weird Al Yankovic. A lot of time, I will bust like Kim. She's and Kim and Nicole both love New Kids on the Block. One of their biggest hits is The Right Stuff, right? But when I hear that song, even if it's New Kids, I will literally sing, oh, 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 Oreo, what's in the middle? The white stuff. Again, because that was Weird Al's version was Oreo, the white stuff. And Kenny, I listen to all types of music. And Nicole, I believe, is just like me because she listens to exactly Kenny. And that was the one thing I tried to do with my daughter. Also, it's kind of ironic, Kenny. I mean, me and you kind of did the same thing with I tried to do it with my daughter and my son. Is I tried to get them to listen to all different types of music because that was the thing was I wanted him. I mean, Hannah grew up. Obviously she a little younger than Nicole, obviously, but she was into Britney, into the NSYNC, into the Backstreet Boys. And again, unlike Kim's generation, where if Kim saw me in high school and if Kim would have been wearing a New Kids on the Block, I would come around and go, "Oh, how about them new on the block?" And when it'd be kids, it would be, whatever derogatory term I could think of at the time about them. But deep down inside, I was listening to them at home. This wasn't going to admit it out in public, back then. But yeah, I mean, and that's the same thing here, Uvaldo. I mean, like I said, people when they come to my house, when I was a senior high school, junior high school, girls would come to my house. "Oh, we want to make a mixtape of like Def Leppard. or Motley Crue or all these hard rock bands, and they're looking at my cassette tapes and going, or my CDs and going, wait a minute, you got La Bamba. You got the La Bamba soundtrack, which again was the main players on the La Bamba soundtrack was Los Lobos. And again, great movie. A great movie. Me and Kim got lucky. We won those record lots when we actually got an original copy of Richie Valens' debut album. Actually, it was released after he passed away because they, back then they only did 45s. And it's the thing with Elvis. They took all the 45s they released, including B-sides, and just slapped them all on one record. And that's what they did with Richie Valens. Well, we own it. We have an actual original copy of Richie Valens after he passed away. Again, listen to the real Richie Valens against Los Lobos. Yeah, there's a difference. But I can also tell where Los Lobos did the right thing, man. Los Lobos really knocked it out of the park. And they made me fall in love with Richie Valens. Again, Lou Diamond Phillips, he made me fall in love with Richie Valens. The whole cast of La Bamba, the movie, and that's another movie that we need to do here on the show. But my mom was a huge Beach Boys, Beatles. Again, by the time I came around, she didn't have her Beatles records. But she was a huge fan of George Harrison. So, I mean, in the 80s, George Harrison, bestly known for Got My Mind Set on You. Or you can go the Weird Al version. This song is just 6 words long. 6 words long. Anyways, other than that, this has been fun, man. I mean, this is what this was all about. Richie, right? Ubaldo. Richie Valens, man. I mean, oh God. And thank you, Don McLean. American Pie. American Pie is a song literally about the day the music died. Because you know what? That day, and I know I'm going to screw up the years, I think it was 1955, 56, 54, 54, 55. I think I got 55 on the mind because I'm thinking of fucking Back to the Future right now. But I think it was 56. Maybe someone's in there. It was the day the music died, man. We lost the great Richie Valens, Buddy Holly, the Big Boppa. We lost some great, again, before my time. That was my really wasn't my parents' time. And they were like little kids. My dad would have been 7. My mom would have been 6. Somewhere's in there. It wasn't really their time. Their time was in the 60s. The Beach Boys, the Beatles, Creedence Clearwater Revival, early days Rolling Stones. 1959. Thank you, Ubaldo, my buddy. Exactly. And that's the thing, man. 1959. Again. But me and Kim, we, and again, I think it's a lot of Gen Xers too, because of the movies. Think of all the movies that came out in the 80s. La Bamba, Stand By Me. Trying to think of all the movies that came out in the 80s. That would have been PG, at least PG for us to watch. Because I'm pretty sure most of your parents were like my parents were. You weren't allowed to watch rated R stuff back then. And we were literally listening to the 50s music, 50s and 60s, and definitely the, mid to late 50s. And that's where I always say it to this day. Yep, I have a home right on, Kenny. And for me, I love the music of the 50s. I love the music of the 60s. I wasn't born until 71. Of course, I look at what came out in 1971 going, yep, greatest year to be born. But then again, I look at a lot of stuff that came out in the 70s too. There's a lot of stuff. I grew up in the 70s. I grew up in the 80s. I grew up in the 90s, the 2000s, 2010s, 2020s, where we're at now. And I know a lot of times we knock today's music. Again, Bob Seger saying it best back in the 80s. The whole time rock and roll. Yeah, he wasn't up to this 80s hit music that we were listening to. You know, he wanted that old time rock and roll. Again, we love that song. That song was made famous in Risky Business. For most of us, we didn't get to see the radar version until later in life. We're going, oh, really? It was like the first time seeing Porky's, first time radar went, wow, this movie really sucked on friggin' ABC Sunday Night Movie. Or Revenge of the Nerds. I mean, the first time I saw the radar version, I went, I don't remember out of this. I don't remember out of the, oh, look at, we got Beaver. You know, but anyways, 80s are great. The first time I saw American Werewolf in London, I went to a friend's house. She had it on VHS tape, or not, well, it was recorded. And she put it on, it was on in the afternoon. And mind you, it was a female friend. He's like, here, let's all watch this horror flick. I went, okay. It was called An American Werewolf in London. I went, sounds like an interesting title. Let me check it out. Okay. Ooh, I like it. First time I saw a radar movie in my life. Went, hello. I'm enjoying this. Motown, Kenny. Speaking of Motown, some of the stuff we picked up through like Goodwill, eBay, and also through Salvation Army. We've got some like 70 albums of Stevie Wonder. I know we've come across where we got over here in this collection. It's crazy what we got. We were got like Dionne Warwick. And I'm not meaning like 80s stuff. I mean, we're talking 70s and before. But yeah, I mean, we have what is over there in this collection that's actually there. That's not over here in these boxes and toast that still need to be going through. I know I keep saying that every time we do a show. But we have so much music over there. It's crazy. And the cool part is, and I love, don't get me wrong, Kim knows this. I love her sister. The time I was married to her, I was married to her for 15 years. You know, you fall in love with someone for 15 years. And over 15, you know, right around 15 years. But when she passed away, the one thing I knew we had a problem with, or even when we first got married, was music related. Because she grew up thinking that all these hard rock bands in the 80s, all they seen about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Because that's what she was told. You know? I mean, hell, KISS stood for Knights in Satan's Service. Or WASP. WASP. We are. Oh, what the hell was it? I know what the version of Blackie Lawless says on Live in the Raw. And that's the one I want to go with, but that's not what it was. We are Satan's people. That's what it was. We are Satan's people is what WASP was supposedly stood for. And then on Live in the Raw, Blackie Lawless in Long Beach Arena, the one that we recorded, was WASP stands for We Are Sexual Perverts. I'm like, oh, there you go. But, you know, and of course, Motley Crue had the pentagram. Again, I lost a friend over Motley Crue having a pentagram on the Shout Devil record and also on one of the heads on Theater of Pain. One of my friends like, well, my mom won't let me be friends with you because you like that Satan music. I'm like, what Satan music? And they're like, Motley Crue. I'm like, excuse me? Motley Crue Satanist? How? And they're like, well, they have a pentagram. Right. Yet on the one album is called Shout at the Devil. Now, mind you, if you read the Dirt book, you find out Nikki Sixx originally wanted to call the album and the song Shout with the Devil. Well, then again, Nick, we all screwed up on drugs. Nikki was. So, I mean, luckily, somebody got to him and said, hello, McFly. Change the damn lyric. But anyways, you know, it's like, oh my gosh, really? All right. So I'm like, so the same friend was like, later on, he's like, hey, dude, man. You know, a couple years later, like, hey, I got an album for you to check out. I'm like, oh yeah, what's that? Hey, man, you ever heard this band Slayer Hell Waits album? I'm like, really? I'm like, didn't your mama say that Motley Crue was devil music? Does she know what friggin' Slayer scene's about? I'm just asking. I mean, there's pentagrams all over their friggin' albums, but again, I was huge into Slayer. Unfortunately, nowadays, um, I can't say nowadays. Probably about 10 years ago, I got a really bad headache listening to Slayer. I don't know why. I think because I hadn't listened to it in a long time, and I was headbanging like a mother. Like, you know, gotta get it going, man. But I've never, I mean, like, okay. And then to find out, like, Tom Araya, the lead singer, bass player, and mainly the lyricist of Slayer, he grew up Catholic. He just reminds me of that part where, in the 70s, it was a Halloween special where I don't remember who the hell was on the couch, but it was Gene Simmons and someone else. And she's like, wouldn't it be ironic if that was like some little Jewish boy behind that makeup? And well, come to find out, Gene Simmons is Jewish. It was just kind of one of those funny things where, like, yeah, you'd be shocked who's behind the makeup. Here you got Gene Simmons, the demon. Again, Kiss was supposedly knights in Satan's service. Oh, wow. Okay. But yeah, definitely, Kenny. And again, the thing is, I listened to everything, in the 80s. I mean, the first time I heard Stryper was their Soldiers Under Command album. And again, I love Stryper. I love that album. I love Hell's Devil. I really can't say I love Yellow, Black, and Tack because I've not really listened to it. But I also love In God We Trust. And again, their late 80s, early 90s record called Against the Law, which miles would be against what we stood for originally, because the record company's like, hey, can we just do one album where you guys aren't singing about God and whatnot and just see how it does? Well, they don't realize by then, all of us all the other headbangers like, how dare you? No, we're not going to accept this. And one thing about like our generation, Gen X, a lot of Gen Xers do not accept people stepping into their favorite bands. Again, I've got no issue. I had no issue Sammy Hagar stepping in for Roth. 5150 was a great album. OU812 was a great album. For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge was a great albums. It doesn't take away from what Dave did with Van Halen. Dave had great albums with Van Halen, besides 1984. I mean, you had Women and Children first, Van Halen 1, Van Halen 2, Diver Down, Fair Warning. Yeah. Again, they were great. They were two great different bands. And the reason why they're two different bands is because the lead singers changed. Motley Crue did the same thing. They had Vince, Mickey, Nick, and Nicky and Tommy all the way up until 1991. And in 92, they kick Vince out of the band, or Vince gets fired, or Vince quits, one of the two. One of the three. Again, depends on who you talk to. You talk to Nicky, he quit. You talk to Vince, he got fired. According to Mick Mars on Behind the Music, or Beyond the Music, no, Behind the Music, it was a fuck you and a fuck you, and he left. So, yeah. But anyways, they brought in John Corabi for that Motley 94 album. Again, it's one of Motley's hardest albums, and I love that album to this day. I'm one of those weird Crue fans that actually loves that album. When I met John Corabi in 2005, he was playing guitar for Rat at the time, and I got a chance to meet him. I told him, dude, I'm a diehard. I've been a Motley Crue fan since 1984, and I love the 94 record. And he wrote this, he signed an autograph for us and literally wrote John Corabi, Crue Rules. And I'm like, dude, right on, man. And dude was freaking short. I was shocked. I always thought these guys were like bringing these mountaintop mother. Later that night, me and Kim's sister, Karina, we got to meet Tom Kiefer, lead singer of Cinderella. Dude ain't that friggin' tall. But again, I had posters of these guys. I'm thinking, man, these guys are, again, our heroes are up here. And then when we meet them in person, going, shit, You're the same size as me. What the hell? The one thing I loved about that night in Reno, Nevada, at the eventually was called the Reno Hilton. Originally opened up as MGM. Now it's like I don't know what was it called, the Reno Hilton. That night was funny. We met all these different bands. Firehouse was there. Got to meet them. I thought I was gonna meet Quiet Riot, but they were being assholes. I was told by a lot of people, don't go up to them. They're assholes to talk to. I'm like, okay, cool. When you're being told like 4 or 5 different people, including other band members on the tour, you're like, okay, I believe you. I am not gonna go talk to these pricks. And then you meet guys like from Rat and then John Corabi. And then at the same time, you're meeting Tom Kiefer. And then you meet like Jeff LaBar, who's the guitar player from Cinderella. And you're talking to the guy, he signs your little piece of paper you have. And you're like, hey, Jeff, by the way, you know that part that you and Eric Brittenham, the bass player, do? Like in all your videos and on stage, and you flip the guitars around. All that. Well, I tried that crap when I first got my first bass guitar, hit myself in the goddamn head. Well, why is that? Well, because I was using one of those nylon straps versus one of them leather straps that they use on stage. He laughed. I was so happy to find out he laughed. R.I.P. Jeff LaBar. Anyways, guys, I've been at this for 2 hours. I am so thankful for everybody that's staying here in the chat. Ubaldo, Kenny, Spencer, Nicole jumped in the chat. Eventually, Nicole jumped online. Oh, yeah, I hit my head. It was hilarious. And the fact that I made the guitar player Cinderella laugh about it made my friggin' day. It was cool, though, meeting a lot of artists that night. Again, these guys were my heroes. Obviously, real quick, funny story. Tom Kiefer and Cinderella's road manager was giving me a bunch of shit because I was literally wearing my Motley Crue shirt from the 05 show that I just saw Motley Crue on. The Better Off Live Than Dead tour, which eventually would become the Carnival of Sins tour. So there you go. But they're giving me shit. And I'm like, hey, you want to give me a free Cinderella shirt? I'll change. But they didn't. But that's another day, another time to talk about that. That was a fun night there at the Reno Hilton because all the bus drivers had to sleep. So all the band members had to, they had to screw around in the Reno Hilton, which is freaking awesome because we got a chance to meet a lot of people that night. A lot of guys from my childhood, my growing up years, my teenage years in the 80s. But y'all got to see Nicole early. You all got to hear from Kim. You didn't get to see her, but that's because Kim is her own person at this time of night when she's working. But technically, you got to have all three of us. I want to thank each and every one of you who jumped in tonight again. And we'll start right from the top again, just right from the get-go. Isaac jumped in. Spencer jumped in. Nicole jumped in. Ubaldo jumped in. Kenny jumped in. I want to thank y'all for joining. I know the likes of the girl Dragon Bite, they're it's late for them over there on the East Coast. I love them. And no matter what, I always love them. Brady, big love in the same way. Love him as much. And Don Dill Snooch. Of course, Dave and Jason from the Sidebar Cantina. I'm going to do the best I can with this, the plugs, the business, and that what I need to do is like pre-record Kim reading all this. So I can just go boom and click each one, and then she's still reading it. But thank you, Adam Goswick from A Certain Point of View podcast for creating our new remix logo. Really should just take away the new and just put remix logo, but it's still new. If you want to support the show, go to go to ko-fi.com/USBpod. Or if you're watching this on your TV or computer screen and you got your phone handy, take your picture of that nice little QR code over there. You can donate $1 anytime you want, or you can even subscribe for as little as $1 a month. Again, I mentioned it on the early morning show this morning. I believe Patreon is going to come back. We're going to have 2 tiers again, more likely just the $5 and $1. Not too many things you can get for $1, so I want to give you guys the option about even support us for $1 a month. We appreciate it. And just know one thing, regardless where you support us at, all monies will go back into this show. We really want to be able to pay for StreamYard for a year, or if we can find something a little cheaper, we will. But right now, StreamYard is pretty much the way to go. So that's what we want to do. But yeah, if you can't, hey, I understand. This is hard times, people, and it don't matter. We don't do this show for money. We do this show for fun, and because we just want to have fun and get away from life. That's the point of it. Get away from life, because life is annoying as enough. Because somebody forgot to tell us when we were younger that, hey, you're gonna have to grow up one of these days. I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. Anyways, check out the ATSW Family Sidebar Cantina live every Monday on YouTube at 5:30 Eastern, unless otherwise noted. So make sure you're following them on all the socials. ATSW, the Escape Pod. That is Don Del Snooze, Dragon Buddy, and Brady, Sexy Big Man, Big Lovin'. Always live every Pantless Wednesday on YouTube at 7:05. Make sure you check that. 7:05 Eastern. Layman's terms, our man Keith the Layman, he's a Philadelphia man, but he likes to have a little drunken banter live on YouTube. Plus, he also talks about Magic the Gathering and whatever else he wants to talk about. And one of his last, I don't know what the last episode I watched, he was talking about Jason Kelce retiring, which was crazy because I really didn't think Kelce was going to retire right away, but he did. And I wonder just how much longer Travis Kelce will stay in the game. I'm assuming since he's dating T Swift, he may not be in the game much longer. We may be looking at the last season of Travis Kelce. Anyway, Stranger Things has happened with Don Della Snooch and Luna Girl every other Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern. They are watching Stranger Things has happened on Netflix for the very first time. So, and they're currently in season 4. If you are ahead and you've seen all of season 4, whatever you do, please do not get in the chat and spoil anything beyond the current episode they are talking about. Myself, however, I'm only in season 3. So now I'm behind. I got to get caught up. I will. Grave reviews with Alan and Dragon Buddy. Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Again, you like a horror flicks, make sure you give them a follow and watch them on Thursday nights at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. I mean, they've been talking about, hell, one of the weeks ago, they were talking about Frankenhooker. Holy shit, I hadn't heard that name of that movie for years. But it's crazy. Frankenhooker. But they're pulling out some old B movies that we only, we went to walked into your local mom and pop video store. That cover looks cool. Let me check. Mom's like, hey, checking that out. It's rated R. But Mom, first movie my mom ever let me rent was rated R was Nightmare on Elm Street. Oh, she regretted that one. I'll tell you that much. But damn, I fell in love with Freddy Krueger, people. And Sweet Studios and Explicit Noise are always on YouTube. Give them a follow. Sweet's always doing something cool with Sweet Studios. But Explicit Noise is his high school band. They do some really great covers. And also Sweet comes up with some great, as they call it, used to call it the quarantine sessions, but he works with a bunch of people online all over the world to bring together and do some cover songs. It's freaking awesome. It's great. Sweet is the man. Also, check out our boys from the Boise region of Idaho, and that is the Orange and Vet Show. They're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, or better, used to be known as iTunes. As always, go to bio.link Red 5 to find more exciting podcasts here, like us, a part of the Red 5 network. Another great show, always on the 5. So let's make sure we get this right. The 5th of a month, the 15th of a month, and the 25th of the month. Now, if I did that wrong, she's going to let me know, folks. But that's how I think it works with On the 5s, hosted by our very own Nicole over on the Red 5 Network YouTube channel. She had a great show tonight. They literally talked about the book review of The Last Command, which was book 3 of the Heir to the Empire series. Again, next month we're going to be reviewing the book The Martian. And just so you know, I'm going to be buying that book. Probably digital, but I'm going to buy it so I can do it. I can watch it with them. But make sure you go check out bio.link/Red5 to find the rest of the Red 5 family. I'm not sure how many podcasts we have in there, but there's us, Scarif, Conversations with Charles and Pat. Again, Nicole doing her thing with the Red 5 reading, or on the 5s also. Speaking of which, reach out to Nicole if you want to be part of Red 5 reading. She'll get you a link to this Discord so you can be a part of Red 5 reading and enjoy the books that are being read during the time period. And as always, use and abuse. You can find our links on the show notes, except for this episode. There is no notes. None. Scott didn't do it. Always, you can look to the top of our Twitter X page, or go by the bio.link/usedabusedpod to find everything about us. And until next time, I'm missing Kim. I'm missing Nicole, but I am Scott, and I am 1/3 of Use and Abuse Pod. Have a great week, a great weekend, a great evening, late night, morning. Have a great day tomorrow, Tuesday, and until next time, deuces. No, I'm just joking. Peace. Good night, everybody.